There we go.
Got it.
So it's Earth Day today, right? Friday.
Yes, happy Earth Day.
Yeah, happy Earth Day to you both. And I'm here with Michael Langley, aka the Greater Michael. There's Greater Michael and Lesser Michael on the Tribal Council. And we're
You're gonna get in trouble
she
for
thinks
that.
it's funny. She does think it's funny. Mostly, I think. And Kamiah Koch. That's how you
Koch.
pronounce it? Koch?
Koch.
Okay.
Koch.
Koch.
Yeah, CH.
Well, because you have like those famous billionaires, like
I know,
they
the Koch
pronounce it the Koch
brothers.
brothers. Koch.
I wish I was related to them.
Yeah, you wouldn't
But
be.
some of that money, not for any other reason. So
Yeah, you wouldn't have to be dealing with us if you were. So
Yeah, I have to admit, I've been mispronouncing it all this time as well. So
that's totally fine. As long as you get the first name right, that's all that matters.
Koch. Okay. Kamiah Koch. And yeah, for I think the first year you worked here, I kept thinking it was like Micaiah and not Kamiah. Don't ask me why. So
It's okay. I'm used to it all.
okay. So you've been here, you started here about what, 3 years ago?
2 years ago, October 2019.
Okay. And you had just graduated from Western Washington, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Washington, went to Western Washington, and then made the switch to Oregon.
Okay. And you got your degree, because I did journalism too, and I think you studied journalism, right?
Yeah. Well, it was like kind of by proxy. So I did communication studies and public relations studies in college for a double major, but the public relations was in the journalism department. So I ended up working on the paper for that, and ended up just really enjoying doing that kind of work, and switched gears and pursued journalism.
Okay, cool. And so this is basically like your first job out of college?
Yeah, this is the first big girl job got, but I am really enjoying it. Like, it's a great first job to have.
And you've been specializing in all the digital forms of media, right? So videos, podcasts. I see you taking pictures all the time. Were those skills that you possessed before you got here, or are they ones you had to refine and develop more as you've worked?
I definitely did not study like photojournalism or anything in college. So technically, no, I was more focused on the written aspect of journalism. But when I did come here, I had I had gotten a little bit of experience through classes doing some things, but mostly no, I had no real like paid experience doing videography or podcasting. And I just kind of jump right in and try and learn how to do it. And luckily I have, Tim Gonzalez, our photographer, to give me some help, and Dean helps me a lot with kind of writing the stories and getting the story aspect going. So, I mean, I definitely have help, but yeah, it's been mostly blindly running around.
Well, so what brought you here to Smoke Signals? Did you plan on working for the tribe, or were you eyeballing a bunch of positions elsewhere?
It was a happy accident. I had gone from college. I had moved back home with my mom right after school, and was just looking for, to get out of the house from my mom's house. And I just was looking for any job, and she had actually sent me the job posting for it. And I ended up applying, and then 2 weeks later I was moving. So it was very, I wasn't expecting to I wasn't planning on doing it. But when the opportunity arose, I took it, and it was really just a happy accident. And I've been here for almost 3 years now. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when you came here. So now you're like a news reporter within this community. Do you feel like it's brought you closer to your tribal community?
Exactly. Yeah, that's pretty much I remember in the interview even saying that, being like, I grew up kind of outside of the reservation, being able to work on the reservation, be familiar with the people who live in this community, and get to know them better is something I'm actually really interested in doing. And I think that helped get me the job, was being interested in learning more about everyone in the tribe and how the tribe works. And I'm definitely still learning. I don't know everyone's name because it's really hard to keep track of everyone.
Yeah.
But we're working on it.
Yeah, we can relate. We just learned how to pronounce your last name today, and we've been seeing it in print forever. So
Well,
I've even been saying it.
what I've noticed since you've been hired, and Chris and I have talked about this before, the podcast, the electronic part of news reporting that you're bringing, especially like the summaries. I really love those summaries. So my question is, so is that something that you thought when you came, or is this something that was in the works, or you thought, hey, I think we should do this. This would be really good to put out there?
I wish I could take the credit for it. It was actually someone had posted. So one of my aspects of the job is to sit on Facebook and see if there's anything going on that we want to report on. And I, go through the tribal group pages, and I had seen someone comment that they wish there was like a summary of the paper because they don't have all the time to do it, to read the paper. And Dean had saw that as well. And so we came up with this idea to do a 2-minute video synopsis of every edition of the paper. So technically, no, it was not my idea. I'd say it was more Dean's idea, but he just gave me the gist of what he wanted and I was able to run with it. And it's been an interesting journey of doing these synopsises.
Yeah, well, I know I don't know what analytics you have on that. I've seen some of the videos I put out, I get to see detailed analytics, some not as much. But I'm curious if this more electronic format, what demographics do you think it's reaching, or do you think we still need to reach around that?
Yeah, we do track the analytics of that. It's hard to say. I haven't that would be something I should kind of make a Excel spreadsheet of, to see what age groups and what demographic is looking at our stories versus our videos. I have not compared this, but we do have the information to do that. I would say, I feel like it's pretty across the board. The synopsises don't get as many views, honestly, as you may think. They sit around usually 200 views, which is still a lot, but not our most. But I think they're definitely helpful for tribal members who don't have, all the time to read the whole entire paper. They can get a preview of it. Again, I always reiterate, it's not the entire paper. Dean kind of gets upset with me for, we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot by giving a summary of the paper, so then people don't actually go and read it. But I should look at the demographics and see who's watching versus reading.
Yeah.
And so Michael and I were discussing earlier about, because we're old. I'm pretty sure we're older than you. Like there's probably like a bigger gap in our age than we want to admit. So you're of that younger generation that kind of grew up around screens.
Yeah.
And whatnot. And so I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that you're probably more used to getting your news and information online and not really in print format.
Yeah, I have never received, I've picked up newspapers, but I've never been a subscriber of a newspaper. But yeah. So yes.
So I know a lot of people, and it drives me crazy. Like when I go onto my favorite news websites, I just like to read stuff. And so nothing drives me more crazy than when I see a story that interests me and the only format is a video, because I think I can read faster than I can watch a video. And so are you finding that like people of your generation, that's how they prefer to do it, is just these short videos as opposed to news articles?
Yeah, I get the total sense that our attention span, people of my generation, is ridiculously short. Like even my attention span is short, and that's very frustrating, but it is like something to consider when I am making the videos. So most of the videos that I do make are on the shorter side. Like I usually don't go past 4 minutes unless it is a very elaborate video that we're working on, but keeping that attention is really, really hard. Also, the podcasts that I've been producing, those have been on the shorter side, no more than 10 minutes, which I would like to do longer ones, but I do think that people my age and people who do consume, their information from computers don't like to spend too much time watching a 10 to 15 minute video.
I've noticed
really
my sweet spot for a video or something seems to be like 3 minutes. Like
Yeah.
that seems to be one that gets viewed more. And so we've already gone past viewership.
Yeah.
We've got maybe 3 people watching this now. Yeah,
it's
well,
it's not
I
live,
mean,
but-
that's something that you learn in journalism as well. As the first, you got to get your nut graph at the top, is the most information should be at the beginning of your video or your story, so that when people do tune out, they've already received all that information that they may need.
It is interesting though, like Chris said, so even like TED Talks, they'll offer the full transcript and I'll read it because I can read it faster than watching it. And I do that all the time. So it is interesting, the difference in ages and how we do things.
I don't think I've ever read a TED Talk transcript.
And I read them all the
videos.
time.
We're a perfect demonstration of that in effect.
And so before we did this, I went on to your guys' YouTube page and I looked at some of the videos, and you guys have a lot of videos, like in addition to your synopsis. And I've noticed that like sometimes the views on it will be 20, and sometimes the views will balloon up into the hundreds. And do you have a sense, are you able to predict like what's going to make a video more popular, or is it just completely random?
It is mostly random. I can usually tell, especially for working for the tribe, if there's something that is very, very significant to people's, emotions and hearts. So recently we did the, what was it? I have it on my phone, actually. Let me look up what the name, Chehalem Ridge Nature Park, the art installation they did there. That got 2,000 views and within a very short amount of time, which I was kind of expecting, but that was one of our most watched videos in the last month. But that's pretty much kind of like, if it leans more towards something, native, their spiritual side, or something just really traditional, then they enjoy, or artistic, we get more views for that. If it's just like, we had the Easter egg hunt the other day, and that one got maybe 50 views or something. So it really is just, it varies depending on what catches people's eye and hearts.
But that Easter egg hunt didn't even last 2 minutes.
I know. I was 2 minutes late to it and I missed the entire hunt.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was told there were 3,500 eggs laid out, and those kids, like, so if you think, when kids tell you they can't pick something up, they can pick something up when they're motivated.
If they're food motivated, I swear. It was such a quick event. Insane.
Yeah.
Well, I'm food motivated, so
I think we all are.
So what are
Yeah.
what are some of like the future stories that you plan to explore that you hope you can get into?
Oh my gosh, that's a good question. I mean, the one thing that we're trying to do is reignite our podcast. That's kind of really slowed down since COVID. There hasn't been a lot of opportunity, at least maybe there is. And if there's stories that people want to tell, please email them to me. But I don't know, for podcasts, we want to do a few more stories. I know that Jack is leaving council. I want to talk with him and see what his legacy is left behind. So that's kind of one of the stories I want to do. What else do we have? I mean, things are kind of opening back up after COVID, just covering more events. One of our most watched videos today is the 2019 powwow video, which gets at least like 50 views every week. It's still getting views. I have no idea where it goes. I mean, I remember in the video with you and Dean, he even talks about how we have old videos or old podcasts that sometimes someone will post on a page and it will just blow up years later. And so that video is still getting views. So I'm excited to go to powwow again this year and see, what kind of views we get for that video as well. So, I mean, just events I'm mostly excited for. Those are my favorite to record.
Yeah, get you out of the office and get you on the road.
Exactly. Get out of the walls.
So when, in terms of your videos, like, I'm just curious about this because, and Michael once subbed in for me, like doing the videos that we do online during the tribal council elections. And my experience, they're really time consuming. Like whatever the running time of the event is, that's about how long it would take me to upload and edit it. So you end up viewing everything twice. Do you find that's about the same for you?
Yes. So everyone always says, oh, you get, our graphic designer, Sam is in the office is always saying, oh, you'll get faster, you'll get quicker. And I'm like, I really don't feel like it's getting quicker. It takes so long to edit videos. There's like the saying that if it's a 3-minute video, at least double it or triple it for the editing time. So I'm sorry, that's wrong. Each hour, give it a double or triple it for editing time. So it'll take me for a 3-minute video, probably a whole entire workday to edit it, upload it. I mean, even the uploading process just takes so long. So
Yeah. The HD videos take forever. Yeah.
it is a very time consuming process, but, I mean, yeah, you get better with the technology. I'm not sure. You use Premiere Pro, or what do you use to edit your?
You're going to laugh.
Yeah.
I use Windows Movie Maker.
Oh my God. Do you use Audition for, not Audition, I'm sorry. What's the audio one? Do you edit things in audio?
Oh, Audacity.
Audacity, yeah.
No, it's built into Chrome and it allows you to like clip out
Okay.
sound portions out of the video audio recording. That's what I've used, but I haven't done that in a long time. Most of my podcasts recently on my SoundCloud account have just been, I transfer videos I do onto SoundCloud, and it's just the audio of the video. So, because I'm burnt out on doing all the editing.
I get that. That is something I do as well. The synopsis, I just throw that onto the podcast distribution site that we have and just let the audio transfer over from a video. I don't have time for that.
Yeah, well, that was going to be my question. What is a recommendation for it? Because I came away with a much bigger appreciation for the work that Chris did on those forums, because it took me so long, and I was trying to use the same type of software, but it was really like a weekend project to work on
Yeah.
In the summer too.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it just takes I think once you get familiar with the software, so I use the Adobe suite, so which is Premiere Pro and Audition for audio, and then, Photoshop and InDesign or whatever else to design things. But it just takes getting to know how to use that technology. That's the biggest like curveball, I feel like. And one thing I also like to do is, before I even start editing my videos, I'm not sure what the storyline for the videos that you guys create are, but I like to have kind of like a script of what's going to happen. And then it's easier for me to just take the footage and input that in reference to what I'm trying to do, rather than just trying to like do it all in my head, which then gets confusing. I don't think makes as good as a video. But I mean, really, it just takes, also, if you know any of the shortcuts like Control+ to zoom in, that just saves you yeah, it's just learning the technology that takes the longest time, and I'm still very much learning all the time.
And so how have you learned? Is it just by doing, or did you like kind of on little YouTube instructional videos, or
YouTube University is what everyone calls it.
University? Okay.
I still watch YouTube videos all the time to learn, how to edit something, zoom in cool or whatever. But yeah, it's just YouTube and practice, and you kind of fiddle with it every time I learn something new that I want to include in the next video or something. So just takes, unfortunately, a copious amount of time.
Yeah. Well, you guys are doing good. I mean, I take it Naja is coming up in a couple months, right?
Yes, we get to go to Arizona in the middle of August.
Yeah.
Hey.
Are you going to win an award this year too?
Yes. I think, yeah, Danielle and I both get to go accept our awards and awards for Smoke Signals.
Great.
I got first place, I will say.
They've already told you what you've won.
Yeah, I think it's the 20, maybe it wasn't. Maybe I have it wrong.
Okay.
Actually, never mind. Now I'm questioning mine. I thought it was last year's and they're just distributing them, but maybe they haven't told us.
Okay.
Cool. We'll find out. We'll find out when I get there.
You probably got first place. Yeah, I mean,
I will say our category is quite small, and I win first place often because I think I'm the only person that submits in that category of TV news for tribal newspaper. But yeah.
So I wanted to talk about a topic that I know Chris usually starts talking about, but you kind of gave the opening there. Do you get exposed to a lot of the other tribal newspapers? Do you have a lot of interaction with them? And then especially with being one of the really few independent free press. I mean, what does that look like out there in the national scene? Do you hear about it?
I would say no to both of those questions. I personally have not really interacted much with other tribal newspaper reporters. I don't think I've had the opportunity to because of COVID. I came here right as COVID, or came to Smoke Signals right as COVID hit. So we haven't had a lot of, going out to other tribes to do stories. So no, I have not. And then your other question about the independent, it's the bragging right that I always say I work for the independent press of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde. And I think it carries some weight, but a lot of people probably don't even really know what that means sometimes if they're not, educated in news.
Yeah. Well, and I think like to appreciate it, you have to kind of witness it, like witness some sort of power struggle within a tribe where the tribal newsletter is banned or barred from public writing stories or anything. I think that's kind of what it takes for people to be aware of it.
For sure. Yeah.
So so I'm still using the free version of Zoom. So we have about 10 minutes left, but I still see you like running around a lot. And I've seen you and Danielle come running up that hill by my house in tribal housing. So you're still training for a marathon. Is that right?
Oh God, no, I gave up on that marathon really quickly, but Danielle and I do a lot of, especially during the summer, not so much in the winter, but she is my running coach. She probably wouldn't say so, but I think so. She gets me out running during lunch breaks, and that's been nice. And it's been nice, when we work around the tribe, going for, walks or just getting outside. It has, led me to new stories. I remember the other day I was going for a walk and I saw the tribal police on their new electric bikes. And I didn't know that we'd gotten electric bikes. Dean didn't know, but because I had been out just kind of wandering around, I had seen that and we created a story from that. So it does, technically I'm working through it while I'm doing those runs.
Well, that's good. Hey, if you can pull it off.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And if you need to stop and just walk for a little bit and you happen to be strolling by my place and you see some weeds, feel free to pull some of those weeds.
Yeah.
I'll be sure to get on it next time.
So, well, do you have any questions of us?
I did not come prepared for questions for you.
Okay.
What is the favorite? I'll ask you something people ask me is, what's your favorite video that you guys have produced?
You mean like these videos like this?
Sure, this, or I know you have done other just you talking videos.
I think probably one I liked the one we did with Lou Younger, just because when you talk about how a certain subject will spur a lot of views, that view outside of like council election videos, that's gotten the most views I think of anything I've done, because we were talking about per capita and people Renlino got up and thanked us for doing that video at a Wednesday night meeting, because I think that enlightened a lot of people about how the deliberations that go into per capita.
For sure. I know. I bet that was very informative for people. And also anytime that is mentioned, their ears perk up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think the same thing, Chris. That really was one. And actually I had people ask me, hey, did you guys practice that, or did acted like it was anything more than what we're doing just right now? We really just winged it. That's what we did. But I think it was just a topic that everybody was really interested at the time anyhow as well. So I think that you can't really control that interest level so much. I would like to think it was just people really wanted to listen to me and Chris and Lou. But I think it was definitely topic driven.
Yeah, it was. So, but eventually what I would like to do is kind of develop my skills, at least to be like about on par with yours, but eventually be able to introduce graphics and just, I don't know, just more stuff to these videos rather than just pressing record, because that's about where my skill level is right now. But I like watching, like Trevor Noah or Jon Stewart or some of those guys, and I like the way they engage in that blend of entertainment and journalism, because I think that's, news can be very dry depending on how people deliver it, and if you can liven it up somehow, I think that's always a good thing for people.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, the first thing I started to do was just take our news stories and have them slide in next to my head when I was talking and out. And I learned a lot from that. So I would recommend just start throwing graphics in and see what happens.
Okay. I'll give it a shot. So, well, anyway, we've taken half an hour of your time. Your coworker is going to be our next victim, Danielle.
Oh, good. Yeah, you should definitely talk to her. I'm sure she has a lot to say, more than me. She is very, very wise in the world of journalism.
Yeah, good. Well, we appreciate you taking time out of your day to meet with us and shoot the breeze and give us insight into your job.
Thank you so much for allowing me to blab on for 30 minutes.
Well, and I feel like I have to say it this way. Thank you, Kamiah Koch, because, I want to get the name right. So
there you go. You got it.
All right. Cool.
All right.
Thank you so much. You guys have a good weekend. Happy Earth Day.
Yep.
Thank you.
See you.